All rise. County Commission of Travis County is now in session. Chairman Taylor presiding. Come to order, please.
Thank you very much. This evening, our pledge will be led by the District 6 Commissioners. However, an invocation, but Amber Russell is under the weather. So at this time, I'd like to ask Commissioner Carmen if he would lead us in the pledge to our American flag.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. At this time, could I ask Will Dennis if he could lead our invocation, please?
And Father in heaven, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the health, allowing us to be here tonight. We'd ask, Heavenly Father, that you'd put your hands on us, Lord, and be with us as we try to make decisions for this county. Keep us humble, Heavenly Father. Be with those, Heavenly Father, that are less fortunate than us. Continue to remember the lost most of all. Be with this court through this upcoming holiday season. Let us know, Heavenly Father, the things to be thankful for. Continue to ever keep us in the center of thy will. It's in your holy and righteous name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Welcome to the November 2025 Commission meeting. First, I'd like to ask everybody to please silence your cell phones. At this time, I'd like to ask Madam Clerk if you could please call the roll.
Beverly Atwood, Tommy Belcher, Linda Bruce, Shane Burton, Alan Carmen, Brian Crook, Will Dennis, Jerry Ford, Chris Gregory, Jeff Gregory, Bubba Gregory, Landon Gully, Judy Kerr, David Nallner, Leslie Overman, Mark Presley, Amber Russell, Lonnie Taylor, David Thomas, Steve Whitaker. 16 present, 4 absent.
Okay, thank you very much. So you all have a copy of the minutes for the October 27 meeting. At this time, they've all been distributed. If there be any changes, or if there will be no changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Chris and Jerry, thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much for that. So I had here, is Mr. Paxton here? Yeah, I had here that Mr. Paxton was going to come in and give us an overview of the upcoming election timeline, but I guess we'll table that until the next one. Thank you. You all have a copy of your packets, and there'll be no additions to the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to set the agenda. Jerry and Mark, please. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Citizens' response to agenda items. If you wish to speak to the commission this evening on any of the specific items that we have on the agenda, please sign in and you'll be called at the appropriate time. At this time, I'd like to ask the mayor for his county mayor's report. Mayor, you have the floor.
Yeah, three items. The bridge at Broadway, had a couple of citizens concerned about traffic lights going up there at the corner of Broadway and West Main, thinking that maybe there was a greater need somewhere else in the city for traffic lights, but those are temporary to make the traffic on the bridge a little more eased. So that's why they're there temporarily, because of the bridge construction. Commissioner Scruggs, Highway Commissioner Scruggs let me know that after Thanksgiving, a portion of Starlight's going to be shut down for about 3 or 4 days. I'll have more information on the website as to exactly where and how long. In meeting with Jones Brothers and the engineering company and TDOT, I found last week that the 141 bridge is back on schedule. There were a couple of pylons that had to go a little deeper, but right now they said the project is going fine. I think we all should remember that Commissioner Crook's mother, Yvonne, is still having cancer treatments, as is Mark Presley, but Mark's doing really well. And also remember that Commissioner Crook's broken his foot and is going to be out for a while, so remember them. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the mayor regarding? All righty. I'm sorry. Yeah, Chris, go ahead, sir. I didn't see you.
Okay, just one, at the October meeting, Mayor, you'd mentioned you had an upcoming meeting with the jail architect and that we might have a floor plan. Has there any update on that?
Yep, in meeting with and communicating with Jim Langford, it was determined that January is a better date. He had set some meetings with the sheriff's department and actually, when I had my conversation with him, I said we really didn't have a financial plan in place at this point. We'd be getting a little ahead of ourselves if when they had those meetings, final meetings on setting the floor plan. So that's been postponed to January. Yep.
Anybody else? Okay. So moving on to committee board reports, audit met on November 4. Beverly, can you speak to that for me, please?
Yes, we met and on November the 4th at the mayor's office. The main objective to meeting was re-election of officers. All officers remained the same. Myself as chair, Mr. Dennis as vice chair, and Mr. Ford as secretary. The only other discussion that we were pretty much had was just getting your CTAS training for annually, just to be in control or in compliance. No, we don't have a further meeting set at this time, but that was the gist of our meeting.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for Beverly? Okay, moving forward, personnel and insurance met on November 4. Leslie, can you please speak to that for us?
Yes, we met at the mayor's office November the 4th at 7. We elected officers, and I'm the chair. Steve Whitaker is the vice chair, and Will Dennis is the secretary. We discussed employee insurance a little bit, and we have a meeting scheduled for January the 15th at 7.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Leslie regarding this? Okay, moving forward. Let's see here. Codes and zoning, we met on November 6th. David, can you please speak to that for us, please?
Yes, we also met to vote for officers and just discuss the upcoming year. Officers are all the same. Our next meeting will be December 9th at 6 p.m.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for David on this? Okay. Moving forward from there, Public Works met on November 6th as well. David, can you speak to this as well?
Also, the same thing. We voted to keep everything the same. We just discussed the generator being installed at the admin building. That should begin the process in December. Talked with the man from Capitol. He said that he was just waiting for one more piece of equipment to be built and shipped to him, and then they'd be ready to start doing the demo on the old and getting ready to install the new. We also looked at other properties around downtown as far as looking for parking. Motion came from the committee to have the mayor look into other available properties, and that motion passed unanimously. And there will be no December meeting.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for David for this? No? All right. Thank you very much. Moving forward, law enforcement met on November 13. Commissioner Russell is under the weather. Is there anybody here that can speak to that? Yes.
I started the meeting off. We elected the same officers that we had for the other committee, first responder committee. And we had a few discussions, but I don't remember exactly right now what it was, but pretty much that was it.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Nallner on this? Nope. Okay. Moving forward, first response services also met on the 13th, and Ms. Russell again is not here. Is anybody here that could? Yes, go ahead, Greg. Chris Gregory.
Yeah, first response met, right after law enforcement. We elected officers, kept them the same. Amber Russell as chair, Judy Kerr as vice chair, myself as secretary. Had a brief discussion on the status of the burn permit ordinance, really just informational there. No other meetings. First response and law enforcement are both scheduled to meet on January the 5th. I think law enforcement at 6 and first response at 7.
Fantastic. Does anybody have any questions for Chris regarding any of these? No? Awesome. Moving forward. Let's see, Parks and Recreation met on November 13. Bubba, can you please speak to that for us, sir?
Yes, we had a meeting, elected officers, kept them the same. I was elected as chair, Mr. Taylor, Lonnie Taylor, vice chair, and Chris Krieger is secretary. That's about all we did. I've scheduled another meeting for January the 15th at 6 o'clock.
Good deal. Does anybody have any questions for Bubba on this? No? All right, thank you. And then Budget and Finance met on November 17. Commissioner Gregory, can you speak to that for me?
Yes, sir. Budget and Finance met November 17th. Elected officers, Mr. Gully indicated he did not want to seek the chairmanship again. I was elected as chair, Bubba Gregory as vice chair, and Amy Thomas agreed to stay as secretary. Reviewed the county financial summaries for the month. There was one question raised, item in the sheriff's budget, I guess, where a patrol deputy was being paid out of courtroom security. I have since talked with Sheriff Russell and probably will have a budget amendment later in this year to move that position into the right place. But so that being addressed. Nothing else in the financial summaries that stood out. Had 4 budget amendments. All were sent forward with favorable recommendations. Also reviewed the status of our ARPA funding. We have roughly about $375,000 remaining between the two, 127.8, 128.
Does anybody have any questions for Chris regarding this? Okay. Is there any other reports that we have, Amy, or anything like that? Yes. Okay, moving forward. On active business this month, we do not have any resolutions, so we'll move straight forward to ordinances. So at this time, it's a first reading, ordinance 338, 2025. You're going to find this on page 14 of your packets. And this is a rezone A1 to R1. Ms. Mayan, can you go over the rezoning request for the commission, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is on Old Highway 25. And in your packet, you'll see a zoning map where I have color coded where there is a lot of R1 properties in that area. So Ms. Stafford was wanting to cut off 1 acre of her property. She has 3 acres. She is zoned A1. She wouldn't be able to cut off 1 acre of her property and add it to her old family farm, who the person that bought it before would like to do that. So she is seeking to rezone that to R1 so that she could subdivide 1 acre of her property and add it to the farm behind her.
Does anybody have any questions for Rosalie on this one? If not, then I'll entertain a motion on this one. Got a motion and a second from Chris. We got Beverly and Chris. So we'll electronic vote on this. She'll prepare the ballot. So the results are 16 yes, 0 no, and 4 absent. So this carries. Thank you very much. Moving forward to budget amendments, this is covered on pages 22 through 25 of your packets. With electronic voting, all amendments, even those that are fund balance draws, can be taken in one motion if that be the will of the body. Are there any questions from the body regarding any of these amendments that need to be looked at individually? If not, then I'll take a motion to take them as one.
Motion to approve them all.
Motion to approve all. And a second. So is that the motion and a second to approve all? Okay. This will be an electronic vote. Yeah. So they'll prepare the ballot and we'll all vote electronically, please. Results on this one is 16 yes, 0 no, and 4 absent. So this carries. Thank you very much for that, everybody. Yes, David.
I'd like to make a motion to approve these. We voted to take them all as one. Now we need them all as one. All right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, speed reading through that one there. We got it going. Thank you. So this time I have a list of public notary applications from the clerk. And our list is for this month is Sandra Fuqua with Donahoe, Taylor and Taylor, Keith McMorrin with Rohad Fox, Roe Fox, interesting spelling, Roe Fox. Samuel Dunn with Trousdale County Sheriff's Department, Jeremy Burgess with Trousdale County Sheriff's Department, and Larry Scott Brown with Trousdale County Sheriff's Department. All righty. Other than that, I guess we'll take a motion on this one. You have a motion, a second, and a second for Beverly. Good. I'm sorry, Leslie, my bad. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much on that one. And we're looking at the under other business subset A, we have a wheel tax proposal discussion that's been ongoing. Mr. Bellers, to go over this, you did receive a handout at the work session on this one. Mr. Beller, do you have anything for this?
We just left it open for discussion. Obviously, this is something that's of great import for the county commission to consider. My recommendation was to at least put it on the agenda for January, if that's the will of the body. I'm going to need some direction on if this is the way you want to go. So by all means, I'll be happy to make edits, corrections, additions, deletions, whatever needs to be done to make sure that the will of the body is intact. If you like it as it is, then it'll stand as is with some corrections on the January commission agenda. We'll remind everybody that this does require 3 readings at regular meetings, and it has to be by a supermajority of 14 in order to pass on each at each meeting. So that's basically it. So
fantastic, Jerry.
Mr. Chairman, seems to be a lot of confusion in some of the people's mind as to how many people property owners and how many are not. So I asked our tax assessor to come tonight and set the record straight for people, so there'll be no doubts about it.
Thank you very much for that. Sorry. Yeah, Judy.
I just wanted to bring up, does anyone want to discuss for it not to sunset in 20 years? Is anyone interested in it not sunsetting?
Counselor, would you like to speak to that?
the 20 years was somewhat of an, I don't want to say arbitrary, but that's kind of a standard operating procedure. Of course, a lot of this goes to how much are we going to need for the purposes of the reserve funds that they're allocated to for any projects. We've discussed jails, we've discussed schools, we've discussed paying off of certain debt. So a lot of those are going to need to be calculated to how much is this going to bring in? Are we going to be able to support any one of those projects through this amount with the percentages allocated? I believe the estimate that you received the last time we were here, I want to think was, well, it's actually in that a little over 900,000. It's what we estimate is what it would bring in. And you see the breakdown of those, each percentage of what is proposed or what that would bring annually to go toward that. Now, is 20 years enough? Does it need a sunset? That's a great question.
The last one we had did sunset. And here we've gone 3 years not collecting any money, which could have been going in the bank to go towards what we're gonna need.
Our understanding is the last one sunsetted at the time that it ran the duration that it needed to run in order to meet its obligation. So this one be in place. Yeah, this will be in place to take care of it.
Right, I'm aware. That's why I'm just saying, do we want to consider not sunsetting this one? It's just for discussion.
Okay. Well, I guess we can bring that back up at the time. Mr. Potts, would you like to clarify this for us, please?
I'll try my best. Mr. Ford come by the office this week and asked me to speak to you guys, but we had talked about this a couple of years ago, and I reached out to the DPA's office in Murfreesboro and had them do a query for us for the county. And right now, Trousdale County, we have a total of 5,500 parcels, which is parcels across the county. And that number has steadily grown since I took office in 2020. And so that, you know, and we know that because we see different farms being sold and the number of properties being split and that kind of thing. So, but that's kind of the starting point. So with the query that we did, I had them to look and see how many people in Trousdale County, you know, how it breaks down for ownership of those parcels. 5,500 total parcels, but 73% of the county is owned by, it breaks down to 4,028 parcels. So actually, we've got 5,500 total, 4,028 are owned by different people. Those other 1,500 are owned by multiple people like myself, several of commissioners in here as well. You have multiple parcels. So I kind of went back and used the rule of thumb, I guess you would say, of going off of 4,028 parcels is what we have. Our population right now in Trousdale County is roughly 10,000. I looked on Google today as of 25, and we're at 10,100 and something like that. Now, it's not including the prison, of course. I don't count them truly as residents. But when you take the 4,000 and divide the 10,000 residents, that keeps us right about 41% of the population in Trousdale County right now own property in Trousdale County. Now, again, my kids, you know, they don't have property. I know they're part of the census and that kind of stuff too. So, but that's kind of how it breaks down. So when we think about percentage of people in the county, really the county is owned by 43% of the population. So I don't know if that helps you guys or not. We are steadily growing as far as parcels. I'm not dealing with houses as much. Ms. Rosalie can tell you the housing numbers and that kind of thing. But we know the population is steadily growing. We know the parcels are steadily growing. And so I hope that's some information that will help. In the 73%, and Mr. Ford told me some of the numbers that was discussed, that is property owned, I guess, by individuals in the county. You know, as far as there's 4,028 parcels owned by 4,028 different people. And you've got the 1,500 that are separated by the other, however many numbers that is. You know, I know Randy Beach for one number was owned like 30 something parcels. And so you've got people like that throws into that equation. Myself, we've got rental property, so it throws that number out as well. So I kind of, I guess you could say go in that 40 to 45% range, you're probably going to be real safe as far as the population that owns property in Trousdale County.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Potts? Okay, thank you, sir. So yeah, to clarify, 43% of the people are carrying the burden on the property taxes. Yes, Chris?
I was gonna speak to Ms. Kerr's point from earlier. Whether this comes up for a vote and is approved by this commission, or if this commission decides to send it to a referendum, I think it's probably going to wind up on a referendum anyway. And if there's not a sunset in there, I don't know how you envision this passing if there's not a sunset provision. Now, clearly, I think, we should discuss, should it be 20, 25, 30? What should the number be? Maybe it needs to be more than 20, but I think you're going to have a sunset in there if you want to have any chance of this getting passed.
Understood. Anybody else have anything?
I would just comment on what he just said. So clearly that makes it a more fair tax to.
There's no
different
doubt. Yes,
individuals.
that's absolutely the most fair,
That
equitable
a
tax there
wheel
is.
tax would be the most fair for everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, this is all good for continued. Yes, David.
Mr. Beller, if you could help me out on a procedural thing with this. So, and I don't know if it makes a difference whether it's referendum or if it's passed by ordinance through this body, but once it's passed, does this body have the authority to make an ordinance to change, say, when it sunsets, how the money's divvied up, the amount of the wheel tax?
My response to that's going to be whatever this body does, stick with it. All right. Now, whether they've got authority or not, you can only amend any of these in the manner in which it was passed. And that was my understanding of the law. I'm going to go back and look at that again. So for instance, if this body approves it by ordinance, this body can amend it. If it's pulled to referendum or sent to referendum, then it has to be amended by referendum in the manner in which it was passed. And so any amendments or changes, it goes back to referendum to do that if it does in fact go to referendum, if it's pulled or if it's sent to referendum.
Does anybody else? Yes, Bubba Gregory.
If we was to vote on it in January and pass January, February, March, what is the time frame if we pass it in 3 months to get it going? Or it's because you still got to get through Rita's office how to collect it all. What kind of time frame are we looking at?
Still got to work out the kinks on that, and that depends upon whether or not it's pulled for referendum too. Okay, so there's issues that go along with that. I reached out to Mr. Paxton by email to kind of get his timeline. I've not heard back from him. I think he was going to be here tonight, but regardless of that, we'll have all those answered. Yeah, I reckon you can make it effective July 1, 2026. Ms. Rita, any reason you think?
We pass it by that, we'd have to have at least 90 days
9 days.
to let them get their stuff together.
Is there any further questions? Thank you. Yes, please go ahead, sir.
I understand that this was put forth last week, and I understand there's a lot of thought processes that each one of you have to consider. I would recommend talking with your constituents, making sure that they're informed about this and the reasons for it. It's always good for the public to be informed. Facebook forums are really not the best way to inform the public. That's just a draw for undue commentary. Regardless of that, my personal sentiment on that, I think it would be wise if you did have some form of a work session in January that was dedicated specifically for this. It is a big topic item, and that work session at least give me some form of direction. I know you're not going to vote, but give me some direction on whether you want the sunset in or not, whether it's 30, 40, whatever it is, if that's what you want to do. And whatever other changes that you think are necessary, I'd like to have at least some consensus of this body before we do our final edits on it. Obviously, it's only in a draft format at this point, but we want to refine that down as much as we can for your consideration.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything? Yes, Leslie.
Can the sunset be tied to the note that that's gonna, like the jail loan that we're gonna get? Can you somehow?
I'm trying to recall, I think that there may have been one that I had done or was involved in some years ago that was the case, that it was tied back to that. But it's in the form that it's in right now, okay? And so I'm gonna be looking more and more, doing more homework, doing more research. I've looked at this many, many times, obviously, but they tweak the law from every now and then. New attorney general's opinions come out on what you can and can't do. So, and I would like the opportunity to get CTAS to weigh in on this, or MTAS, or both, for that matter. I think that would be beneficial as well.
You know, I'd like to add that a sunset's not a bad idea in the fact that you don't know where we're going to be in this county in 20 years' time. It's not a bad idea to reassess and readjust in 20 years. Maybe we may be in an entirely different place one way or another. None of us have a crystal ball when it comes to looking at that. So in 20 years' time, you know, that'd be a good opportunity to reevaluate and see where we're at, you know, and then continue on in whichever direction. I'd hate to tie us up for something greater than that and then have a different need, or a less need, or a more of a need, and then, you know, still be relegated to a greater than 20-year sunset. So that's things to consider. I have now, let's see, do we have any other business this evening? Mark?
At the Public Works Committee meeting on November 6th, I made a motion to the mayor to investigate the property behind Cam's Pet Supply. It's the small grass area. It's at the entrance of our downtown. So I asked if the mayor would investigate it and see if we could get it at a decent price. That way we can use it as a green area, or whatever the county wants. But I just feel like it'd be in our best interest if we could purchase, if the county could purchase that property. There's 2 parcels that make up the property. Total area is 0.063 acres, or 305 square yards. I know more research has got to be done, but I asked that the possibility of purchasing the 2 properties be added to the January agenda.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Mark on this? Mayor, you guys are square away on what you're doing?
Yeah, it complicated the matter a little bit when we found out that there were 2 after Mark had contacted me. There are 2 different owners, and I think one of the owners on the smaller part is deceased. So we thought we better do a deeper investigation before we brought it before the court. So that's what we're going to do at the request of Public Works.
Is there anybody have any questions on this or comment? Okay, did anybody sign in this evening to speak to us? Can somebody let me know? Nobody has? Okay. Is there any other business that needs to be discussed this evening? No? Yes, Jerry. Well, I was just going to add a couple of quick things. At the right after we went through and reseated the commission here, we know that as far as placing me back up here, I know I did mention that there's several that are probably not going to return this next election cycle. And I wanted everybody to just be thinking of what you'd like to get done, what you'd like to see us achieve in the end of your term. Be thinking about it. You know, let's try and get some things knocked out. Let's try and run this across the end zone and try and at least get some of the things done you'd like to get done before your end of your terms, those of you that are not going to return. So let's, maybe think about that a little bit and continue that discussion in January. I'd like to see everybody leave here with a smile on their face for sure. At least feeling like they did get some sort of things finished up that they wanted to see loose ends tied. So that's just a thought on that one. And typically we do not meet in December, so I'd like to ask everybody to have a safe and warm and happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Other than that, I don't have anything. So at that time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Jerry and Jeff. Thank you very much. You all have a great night. Thanks for coming in.